Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bob Stein Stadium here in historic Dahlonega, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us for this weekend's baseball series in the non-conference between two Peach Belt Conference opponents. It's the Georgia College Bobcats visiting your North Georgia Nighthawks right here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Brendan Shabath. We'll be with you all weekend for what is a major non-conference series between these two PBC schools early in the year. This is not a new thing for either of these sides. Both of these teams actually did this last season as well in Milledgeville, home of the Bobcats, a non-conference early season series. So these two teams will see each other 6 times this year. And right now, as you see, North Georgia and Georgia College, pretty similar starts to the season through the first 11 games. UNG 6-5 on the year so far. The Bobcats, the reigning Peach Belt Conference tournament champions who advanced to the Super Regional last season, they're 5-6, but that number can be a little misleading. Half of those losses to the number 1 team in the country and the defending national champions, Tampa University, to start the season for Georgia College. 2 of those losses out of the 3 in their season opening series by just a single run. This is a very good Georgia College team that at one point was ranked in the preseason polls by the American Baseball Coaches Association, number 13 in the country, actually. And after the first 10 games, they were 5-5, fell out of the top 25, so this is technically an unranked matchup, but these are two teams who are going to look at the top 25 rankings all season long and hope to find themselves in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw either or if them in the top 25 before this season is over at one point or another. Starting on the mound today for North Georgia is going to be their ace. It is ace against ace today. Pierce Williams, the graduate student out of Douglasville, the lefty on the mound, takes the bump for his fourth appearance of the season, his 4th start as well, and he will get things started here against Ben Hemmicker, the junior shortstop out of Marietta. The first pitch in 1 minute late at 3:01 is a strike from Williams, and we are underway. Pierce Williams has just been sensational this year to get things started for UNG. 2-0 in the only 2 games for him that have been decisions out of his 3 starts. He started the year on a 15-inning scoreless streak. Pitched 5 hitless and scoreless innings in his first outing on opening day against Lincoln Memorial back on January 31st. And pitched another 6 scoreless against Mississippi College in a loss on the road. Only allowed 5 hits in that one, no walks, and 6 strikeouts. Against St. Leo in their last weekend series, he was very good as well, as this one is grounded to short, where Bowen scoops it up and throws out Hammaker for the first out on the 6-3 putout. That'll bring up Braden Smith. Smith, the sophomore first baseman out of Statham. So in that start against St. Leo, the 3rd of the year for Williams, was scoreless through the first 4 innings, had 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and then things kind of blew up in the 5th inning. Only got 1 out in that inning. Ends up with 7 hits and 5 earned runs on his scorecard this season. And despite that, still a 2.93 ERA this year, as it's 1-1 on Braden Smith. Smith, all-conference first team a season ago. Pounds this one on the ground. It's scooped up at second base by the freshman Jake Prince, getting another start today. And that's 2 up and 2 down quickly. It'll be the left fielder Carson Phillips now. Jake Prince, the freshman second baseman out of Cumming, Georgia, North Forsyth High School. An injury to the opening day second baseman Brady Skipper has gave way to the lineup for the freshman Prince to get in there. He's been very well played very well through the first 6 games for him this season. 8 for 25. That's a .320 average. Has a couple doubles already. Got his first career RBI done with. Has played some good defense as well. 2-0 on Phillips. The outfielder transfer from USC Beaufort within the conference. Has played and started in all 11 games this year for Georgia College. Pops this one up and out of play for the first strike. Phillips 15 for 45. That equates out to a .333 average. A home run and a double are his extra base knocks this year. Has not walked. Up the middle, Prince makes the stop throw to first. A very difficult one across his body with his momentum moving him to left field. And Phillips easily beats that out for an infield single. The first knock of the day comes with 2 outs here in the first. Brings up Matthew Mabon. Not sure if you can hear the dugout saying, oh yeah, 3-5, as the number 35 in the gray and green road jerseys for Georgia College digs in. Matthew Mabon, they're giving him a hard time. He's actually number 20. Forgot his jersey on the road trip, so he's going to wear 35, at least for today. Not sure what it looks like for the rest of the weekend for one of the best hitters in the Georgia College lineup. Mabon, all-conference last year, preseason all-conference this year. Last season hit .318 in 60 games, 20 home runs. He's already got 2 this year. But he's behind 0-2 to Williams on the righty-lefty matchup. Phillips off of first. Williams to get out of the inning. It's fouled right back. So 3 lefties in the lineup today for Georgia College. We already saw Braden Smith ground out on the 4-3. Evan Cowan on deck would be the second, and Gabe Worth in the 7 hole is the third. Williams on the 0-2 again. They throw it on to second, and that's a stolen base for Carson Phillips. Bryson Stripling behind the dish, the catcher for UNG, has been very good at catching runners this season. It's been a good defense for the Nighthawks. But Phillips got a good jump there on an off-speed count in the 0-2 with Williams ahead. He steals second to get in scoring position with 2 down. Mabon swings, punches it out to right field where Edwin Bowman camps under it for the 3rd out. So a scoring position runner does no harm. Pierce Williams, a scoreless first inning. Nighthawks going to bat for the first time in the home half when we return here on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
At the heart of America's gold rush stands a beacon of leadership, tradition, and excellence. A university that has always led the way, forging an environment for broad-based academics, world-class athletics, and tomorrow's military leaders. The University of North Georgia. Learning and leadership, passion and preparation, transformation and tradition. We are the University of North Georgia.
Back here on the Nighthawk Sports Network, we talked about this pitching matchup is going to be ace versus ace, and I can't think of a better way to describe it. These two are probably going to be 2 of the top, if not the top 2 pitchers in the league this year. You already saw Pierce Williams for the Nighthawks. This on the mound right now for Georgia College is John Luke Glanton, the junior right-hander out of Metter, Georgia. All-conference first team last season with a .301 ERA in 119 innings. And in that stretch had 66 strikeouts with only 22 walks. He really came alive at the end of the season, absolutely torched North Georgia in one of the final games of the year in that season series. And all the preseason accolades have gone to Glanton this year. Everybody around the college baseball world seems to think this guy is going to be one of the best. And through his first 3 starts in 18 innings, he has been very good. Only 5 runs, 3 of them earned, so it's a 1.50 ERA. Glanton will start against the junior center fielder Andrew Opata, who's arguably the best hitter in the Peach Belt Conference through the first 11 games this season. The junior shortstop Jace Bowen will follow in the left-handed batter's box, and then Philip Ard, the redshirt junior first baseman, is in the hole. Glanton versus Opata, this will be a fun matchup to watch today. Good on good in the first look that these two conference teams are going to get it against each other this season in a non-conference series. We'll say that again all weekend long to remind you that these 3 games will count to both of these teams' overall records, but not towards their conference records and the conference standings, which will ultimately decide the seeding and the home field advantage in the conference tournament come April. Glanton, a couple shakes, wiggles, and comes set. And it's a ball inside. Preseason all-conference in the Peach Belt was Glanton. National College Baseball Writers Association had him preseason all-Southeast region and all-American. The only Bobcat to get that accolade as a preseason all-American this year. Opata head 2-1 and make it 3. Not a guy you want to get behind in the count to. This is where Andrew Opata has been fantastic this year already. And swings and fouls one right behind the plate. So Drew's in his 3rd season in Dahlonega, preseason all-conference this year. Only Nighthawk with that accolade, hitting .451 in 11 games this year. The payoff pitch. And a swing and a miss. Glanton with a nasty curveball K's Opata for the first out of the game for the Bobcats. Just the 10th time Opata has struck out this year. It brings up Jace Bowen. Perhaps a breakout year for Jace Bowen as a junior. He really had a breakout year 2 years ago as a freshman. Hit .345 in 52 games back in 2023. On-base percentage above .450. 37 walks and only 24 strikeouts as a first-year collegiate player. That is some uncanny plate discipline from Bowen. And everybody could see how good he was and how good he was likely going to be as he smacks this one the opposite way into left field, and the Nighthawks have their first hit of the day. So going into last year in 2024, Bowen was selected as a preseason all-conference selection, and then an early season injury kind of derailed that whole year. He did end up playing in 20 games, hit .250, had 1 extra base hit. It was a triple. But they were all late in the season. The year had kind of been wrapped up. He was still not 100% in some of those games as well, but UNG, a less than 100% Jace Bowen helps them more than no Jace Bowen, so he was in the lineup on some days without maybe just as a designated hitter or a pinch hitter as they were trying to make a late push to increase their seeding in the conference and maybe win the conference tournament and find their way into a Southeast Regional. So this is really the true second year we're seeing of Jace Bowen, and it's off to a fantastic start already in the 2-hole. He's over at first in the 0-2 to Phil Ard. Ard, 0-2, doesn't matter, lines one into left, where it's scooped up by Carson Phillips. 2 of the first 3 batters are on. Nighthawks have a runner in scoring position, and Kyle Robish, who was clutch last weekend, will step to the plate. 0-2 single from Ard, and now Robish, the sophomore out of Kennesaw, digs into that right-handed batter's box. Glanton checks Bowen at second, who has a big lead. Jace Bowen, plenty of speed. Has 2 stolen bases this year already. He can score on any sort of hit that lands in fair territory for Robish. That one goes foul back to the Georgia College dugout. And again, it's 0-2, Glanton ahead. Glanton checks the wrist for the signals. Comes set with the belt, or the glove, above the belt, right near the Georgia College lettering on the chest. Delivers outside. It gets away from the catcher, Mealy. And both runners advance. Two in scoring position now for Kyle Robish on the wild pitch. Robish on the 1-2. Swings, left side, scooped up there by Mabon. He comes home. They tag out Bowen. A nice play by Matthew Mabon to get it to the catcher, Caleb Mealy, quickly. And Jace Bowen didn't have a shot. Ard also had to stay at second. So now runners at first and second with 2 outs for the designated hitter, Nick Stinson. Stinson takes ball 1. Nick comes from Young Harris, where he redshirted his freshman season. Pounds this one out to right field. Going back, Noonan just in front of the warning track. He will get under it. A good swing from Nick Stinson, maybe a little bit off the end of the bat. And that's the 3rd out. Nighthawks threaten as well. Both teams, runners in scoring position in the first inning, left stranded. And we've got goose eggs after 1 here in Dahlonega. Back on the Nighthawk Sports Network, glad you could be with us. Inning number 2 in game 1 of this 3-game non-conference series, Bobcats and Nighthawks here in Dahlonega. Pierce Williams faced 4 batters in the top of the first. Only one to reach base was Carson Phillips on a bounding single up the middle. So it'll be Evan Cowan, Hank Noonan, and Gabe Worth, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters here in the second inning. And that's lefty, righty, lefty, so advantage Williams on the bump to start this frame. Cowan, the junior out of Richmond Hill, Georgia. He's been at Georgia College his whole career. He's actually the younger brother of the senior infielder, Mitch Cowan. And he smacks this one to right center. Opata will come scoop it up. 1 pitch and 1 hit. Evan Cowan, a leadoff knock from the left side of the plate. Second hit of the day for the Bobcats. That brings up the right fielder, Hank Noonan. Noonan will only be referred to by his last name for the rest of this weekend, simply because it's a fantastic last name. The great sports and movie historians will understand. All the college kids in the Bob Stein Stadium press box up here are looking at me like I'm a lunatic, and it's sad that they don't know their movie history. Williams with 2 throws over to Cowan to work the runner back. Cowan 5 stolen bases already this season. And Noonan is still waiting for a pitch. Cowan's got an equipment issue over there at first. And Noonan takes strike one. Williams, we talked about the injuries that he's had as well, so he was fantastic through his first 2 years. Really, that sophomore season was a standout for him. ERA below 4 in 78 innings. That's a career high for him in a single season. Had 72 strikeouts in those 78-plus innings. And then the junior year only pitched 16 2/3 due to an injury. And then the injury came up again. It was at the back half of the junior year and the front half of the senior year. So he did pitch 16 innings last year towards the end of the season. Only made 1 start in 6 appearances, but was really good in that time frame to close out the year. And I know head coach Tom Cantrell was so excited to get his ace back for a full season here in 2025. Skied in the air to left. This is trouble for Bowen and Robish, but Robish does get under. It looked like it was going to drift towards the line into that no man's land. Instead, Robish got under it pretty easily for the first out of the inning. Now Gabe Worth's turn, the second baseman. And Williams another move to first. Especially on this Friday night matchup between the two aces, runs are going to be at a premium, so it's no surprise to see Williams do everything he can to try to keep the speedster Cowan over at first base and keep him out of scoring position. He moves back to first base again. So Pierce, in those 16 innings at the end of the year last year, 6 appearances, did get an outing against Georgia College. As his first pitch to Worth is a curveball that just misses away. Gave up 7 hits in 5 innings in that one outing against the Bobcats. Did allow an earned run. Had a walk and 3 strikeouts as well. He pitched 6 times last year, only gave up 2 runs in total, and one of them came to these Bobcats. A pretty impressive mark of both teams, of Williams and of this Bobcat offense. An offense that was fantastic last year has taken a step back in the early stages of this season. The Bobcats 37-22 last year, an 18-9 conference record. As we mentioned, went to the Super Regional, lost in 2 games to Catawba out of the South Atlantic Conference, who was number 9 in the country. Catawba went on to the national semifinal. It's one of the 4 teams remaining in the country before they were eliminated in that tournament a season ago. But last year, the Bobcats top 3 in the league and pretty much second in almost every stat I'm about to give you. They were top 3 in average, runs. They led in hits, led in doubles, and were also top 3 in home runs, RBIs, slugging, walks, and led the league in total bases. Georgia Southwestern was the other really good offensive team last year, and they struggled a little bit down the stretch. Lost the game by giving up 6 runs in the 9th inning to the Nighthawks right here at Bob Stein Stadium in the middle stages of the season. Got upset in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament, and that gave an open lane for Georgia College to make its way into the Southeast Regional, which is not an easy thing to do. The Southeast region widely regarded by many across college baseball at the Division II level as the most difficult region in the country. Williams delivers the 2-2, skied in the air to left. Robish is under it. And for the second time, he'll put it in his glove. 4 and out. So the single to Cowan is followed by 2 flyouts to left. That'll bring a Caleb Mealy, the catcher, to try to keep the inning going. And Williams did a great job keeping Cowan over there at first base. Mealy, a newcomer in this Georgia College lineup. He's already made a splash. Freshman of the week 2 weeks ago on February 10th. Had a couple multi-hit games in their series that weekend. Got his first collegiate RBI off the board. Catcher out of Brazelton. Has 7 hits in his first 13 at-bats. He's only played in 5 games. It's less than half the season already for Georgia College. But a .538 average in those 5 games, tough to do. Runner goes, Stripling to throw down. Good one, got there in time, but a little bit to the left side of the second base bag from our perspective up here behind home plate, which meant Prince had to reach back to try to tag Cowan, and he didn't do it in time as Cowan successfully steals second. Second stolen base of the day for GCSU. And again, they have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs and a favorable count, 2-0 to Mealy. Curveball in for a strike. Nasty pitch from Pierce Williams. Uses that curveball and that fastball very effectively. That curveball gave so many hitters so much trouble last season and has done the same through his first 3 starts, and this being the 4th this year. Misses there, though, and it's 3-1. First 3-ball count of the day for Williams. Mealy ready. First base is open. Swings and misses. Curveball got him. Full count. Can Williams strand another runner and keep the damage controlled? The payoff. Inside, ball 4. Williams thought he caught the front corner of the plate. He was headed back to the dugout. Instead, it's a 2-out walk to Caleb Mealy, the first of the day for Pierce. And now the 9-hole hitter, Charlie Banks, will bat. Pops it up, foul, out of play on the first pitch. Banks, the DH today. Sophomore out of Marietta. Transferred from Birmingham Southern to get to Georgia College this season. 2 hits in his first 9 at-bats. This is just his 5th game played this year, the 0-1. Line down the right field line and slicing foul into the dugout as it pounds the bullpen mound and kicks up some dust. Williams after the 2-out walk, quickly ahead, 0-2 on the sophomore Banks. Runners go, fly ball deep out into left. Robish going back at the warning track, stops just in front of the wall. The ball had eyes for the hill right off the bat, and instead Robish makes the catch, and North Georgia breathes a sigh of relief. 2 runners stranded. It's still scoreless. UNG batting in the second after the break on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
No matter how you connect, ETC delivers fast, reliable internet and secure, powerful Wi-Fi choices for your home. For intense gaming, easy sharing, and buffer-free streaming on every device all at once. With local experts ready to help. Connect to faster internet. Connect to awesome Wi-Fi. Connect to now. Call or visit etcnow.com to upgrade your internet today.
Still 0-0 here in Dahlonega, and the Nighthawks perhaps lucky that it is. the sophomore Charlie Banks with a deep fly out to left field with 2 runners on and 2 outs in the top of the second just before the break. Kyle Robish gets back to the warning track, makes the catch. He records all 3 outs in the inning out there in left field, and Pierce Williams and the defense get away unscathed and have a chance to break open the scoring here in the bottom of the second with Jake Prince, Edwin Bowman, and Riley Frost. Glanton allowed 2 hits in the first inning. Started the day with the most impressive feat that you could do to the Nighthawks lineup this season, a strikeout to Andrews Opata. But then Bowen and Ard singled before Robish reached on a fielder's choice, and Stinson flew out to end the inning. That fielder's choice from Robish actually saved a run as Bowen and Ard were at second and third, and it was a ground ball to Matthew Mabon over there at third base, who came home with it to make the out. Prince shows bunt, pulls it back, but it's a strike anyways. And 0-2 to the rookie. Talked about the advanced time in the last 7 games for Prince with the injury to Skipper. Puts this one out to the gap and left. The center fielder Cowan was shading him to the right. This is extra bases for Jake Prince. He's got his eyes on third. He will stop with a hard turn at second base. And Jake Prince with the 3rd Nighthawk hit of the day. It's the first one for extra bases, and the leadoff hitter is in scoring position. That'll bring up Edwin Bowman the 4th. Bowman, the junior, out in right field today, where he's been most of the last 2 seasons, shows bunt and just nicks it foul for strike 1. Bowman, 263 batting average as a freshman, got it up to 285 last year. Has not quite been as hot at the plate to start this year as he ended last season. Shows bunt, popped up to Glanton, who gets there to make the catch before the ball drops on the ground. Miss execution by the Nighthawks, and Prince has to stay at second base, 1 out on the P1 to J.L. Glanton for the first out. I'll bring up Riley Frost. Always a guy you love to see bat in a run-scoring position for UNG. Really good senior leader for the Nighthawks. Has kind of been a leader for them both at the plate but just vocally within the locker room the last 2 years. He knows how to bring runners in when UNG needs it most. They would love to have it here. And they got Prince in a rundown as it's grounded to third. Prince slides at third base. He's tagged out there by the shortstop, Ben Hamaker, as the ball was fielded by Mabon. He threw it back to Worth at second. Prince had too big a lead and was caught in a pickle, and that's the second out as they get the lead runner out of scoring position. Now the catcher, Bryson Stripling. First pitch strike. Stripling, another senior leader. It's been really good defensively behind the dish last 2 years for the Nighthawks. The 0-1 outside gets away. That's the second wild pitch of the day for Glanton. And for the 3rd time in this game between these 2 teams, we have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Neither able to break down the door yet. Stripling looking to change that here. And he gets hit. The curveball just backed up on Glanton. First hit batter of the day. And now this is really interesting with Andrews Opata at the plate. Opata struck out his first time up on a full count against Glanton. But now he's got 2 runners on with 2 outs. He loves to hit in these clutch situations. First pitch swinging. Glanton beat him with a fastball. It's strike 1. We mentioned Opata's .451 batting average, a .1284 OPS. The slugging was above 800 until an 8-1 loss on Tuesday against Young Harris for these Nighthawks. This one's chopped to third on the bounce. Maban beats Frost over to third base for the force out. And again, more runners left stranded in this game. We've played 2. We've scored none. Third inning coming up after the break on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through.
The whole day, every day, we're thinking about one thing, Georgia's hearts. While you're busy being you, we're working to make Georgia Heart Institute Georgia's #1 heart program. One of only 2 programs in the state offering robotic heart surgery as an alternative to open heart surgery. So whether you live in Atlanta or Athens, in the country or in town, the future of heart care is here for you today. We do it all because Georgia's hearts are always on our minds.
That old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Georgia Heart Institute.
Top of the order due up in the third for Georgia College. Williams, 34 pitches to get through the first 9. The first time in this game. So now his third inning of work. We'll start with Hammaker, the shortstop, Smith, the first baseman, and Phillips, the left fielder, one lefty in that trio. Feels like one of these 2-out runners for either team is eventually going to break through and cross the plate and be a key difference maker in this game that we expect run scoring to be at a premium between these 2 aces. Williams and Glanton are each probably still another 3 to 4 innings before either head coach starts to look at the bullpen. That certainly changes if the pitch count for either side goes up. Williams at 34, the first time through the order, not terrible. Bowen deep in the hole at short, fields it, but nowhere near in time to get Hammaker his first hit. He's now 1 for 2 on the infield single. That's the second infield single for Georgia College today. They've only got 3 hits. It's soft contact for Pierce Williams, but just in some of the right spots. The other one was up the middle. Prince fielded it behind second base, but his momentum was taking him the opposite way. Never had a chance to make a throw, pretty similar to that one from Bowen there. And now the dangerous Braden Smith in the left-handed batter's box pounds one foul. Smith, 6 home runs, 3 triples, 20 doubles last season for a .560 slugging percentage. He's already got 3 home runs this year. 50% of his total from a year ago. Williams delivers. This one's out to center. Opata camped under it and then goes back a little bit right in front of the wall. Drifts towards the left center gap and makes the catch as Hammaker turns around and retreats back to first base. Good swing from Smith. Little too much slice from the lefty, and it's F8 for out number 1. It brings up Phillips, the left fielder. He had that ground ball infield single up the middle that we mentioned earlier. Shows bunt here. Runner goes. Throw it on to second. Good one. They got him. Stripling guns down Hammaker at the bag. Bobcats already had 2 stolen bases today. They will not get 3 as Stripling has had enough. That's the second out of the inning. Williams the 1-0 now to Phillips. Popped up right side. Bowman puts it in his glove for out number 3. All of a sudden, A leadoff infield single is negated. And only 3 batters go to the plate for Georgia College in the third. Home half of this third inning. Coming up in a few moments here on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
I pledge.
I pledged.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
Today's broadcast on the Nighthawk Sports Network is brought to you by Bryan Properties, the leader in commercial real estate along the Georgia 400 corridor and a proud sponsor of North Georgia Athletics. We thank Bryan Properties for their sponsorship and support of today's broadcast. Good game so far, scoreless, 3 hits for each side, a couple runners stranded as these pitchers, maybe not what we expected. We've only seen 1 strikeout in this game on either side. It was from John Luke Glanton in the first at-bat of the game to Opada as Jace Bowen has his second hit of the day. This one's a soft single flared out into the gap in right. And the leadoff hitter is on for the second consecutive inning for UNG. So 7 hits in total, 4 for UNG, 3 for Georgia College. Only 1 strikeout. That belongs to Glanton. 1 walk. That belongs to Williams. Neither of these pitchers showing the firepower that we're used to from them. 5, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts. No walks. Low hit total. But without that, they are still working out of some tough jams against some really good hitters in each other's respective lineups. Philip Ard batting for the second time today with Bowen on base. The first time he singled to left back in the first inning. Bowen a big secondary lead, but stays there at first. It's 2-1. This is a better count for Glanton to keep the runner. He's got a good firm fastball from that right side and a good move back to first base. Bowen got there in time, but just barely. Braden Smith, a nice catch to save it from going into foul territory and right. Glanton looks, now comes set, glove at the chest. Checks the runner, delivers inside on Ard. 3 balls and a strike to UNG slugger. Phil Ard, number 8 in the country in RBI this season, already up to 19 on the year. He had 40 last year in 51 games, and in 11 he's at nearly half that. This one's deep, out to center field. Philip Ard does it again! A deep fly to center field. Ard's 4th home run of the year. Nighthawks get on the board first. About 30 seconds ago, Philip Ard ranked 2nd in the conference in home runs behind his teammate out in center field, Andrew Opada. Now they're tied for the conference lead, the only 2 sluggers in the Peach Belt so far with a quartet of home runs this year. And this one makes it 2-0 Nighthawks in the bottom of the third, nobody out. Robish with a hit out into center. And the bats may be coming alive here in the third inning. Robish going to try to stretch it for 2. The throw is good. It is not in time. The ball squirts away from the second baseman, Worth. Robish with a hustle double. It's back-to-back extra base knocks now for the Nighthawks.
Now that is number 37, Nick Stinson.
single, home run, double, and now the coaching staff for Georgia College comes out to talk things over with Luke Glanton as Nick Stinson is ready to step up to the plate for the second time today. Nolan Belcher, the head coach of Georgia College in his third year. He goes back to his dugout as Glanton ready to go against the lefty Stinson. Takes a ball low. Stinson, along with Bowen, the only lefties in the lineup today as of right now. Two balls, no strikes as the fastball misses low and away. Nighthawks perhaps pulling on the thread that is John-Luke Glanton, the preseason All-American here in the third. Stinson smacks this one. That one's out to right. It's got some carry. It's gone! His first career home run. The transfer Stinson puts another 2 on the board. It's 4-0 and 4 at-bats in the third inning. North Georgia trying to make a statement here against a preseason top 25 team. Big third inning, and they still have not recorded an out as the freshman Jake Prince will take his second at bat. He doubled to the gap in left center his first time up. He takes a fastball strike here to make it 0-1. Nick Stinson to right center doubles the lead for UNG. Single, home run, double, home run. 7 hits and 4 runs for the Nighthawks. The 0-2 now. Swing and a miss. Nasty curveball from John-Luke Glanton. Redeems himself with his second strikeout of the day on 3 pitches. An angry K for Glanton for the first out. Now Bowman's turn. It's in very limited numbers, but how about the start Nick Stinson has had this season? That's his 6th hit of the year, the home run. It's his 4th extra base hit. 3 doubles in his first 5 hits before today. All of that in just 12 at-bats in a total of 4 games. A .320 average with a .400 slug and a .370 on base for the redshirt transfer from Young Harris. His first season of college action, and he's been off to a great start at the plate. Not to mention that Nick Stinson can also pitch on the bump. A two-way player for UNG this season as Bowman grounds out to Ben Hamaker at short.
Number 23.
Stinson has only made 1 appearance, pitched a third of an inning this season. He really excels at the plate, and that's where he's highlighted today's game so far. Now Riley Frost. Curveball clips the inside part of the plate. Frost didn't like the call, it looked like. 0-1. That curveball in the heart to make it 0-2. Glanton 2 strikeouts today, 1 in this inning, but it came after he conceded 4 runs and 4 batters. And Frost, a hard liner to Mabon at third, who makes the grab for the third out. But UNG 2 two-run home runs here in the third inning before they record an out. They break this game open on the scoreboard. 4-0. Nighthawks lead it after 3 here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Philip Ard and Nick Stinson, the heroes and the difference makers in this game through the first 3 innings. Ard with a 2-run shot to bring home Bowen to make it 2-0. Robish then reached on a double. Then Nick Stinson, his first career collegiate home run to right center, breaks the game open, doubles the lead, and Pierce Williams now works on the mound in the 4th with a 4-run lead. UNG's bats have really been the highlight to the start of this season. I've been telling everyone around North Georgia Athletics, this team is going to be good. They're going to be better than the teams they've had in years past. And when you start the year at 6-5, it's maybe hard to believe that, but the stats point to good things for this North Georgia squad, and especially at the plate. When you've got this guy on the bump, you've always got a chance to win, as Williams gets Maban to swing and miss at the first pitch. But offensively, UNG right now, second in the conference in runs, batting average, and slugging. They led the league in home runs before today, and that number and that lead only got bigger with the 2 in that last half inning. They've got 13 on the year in total now. They're also top 5 in on-base percentage and walks. Curveball misses low, 2 balls and a strike on Maban. Fastball inside. Williams tugged it a little bit. Falls behind 3-1. The offense is going to be the highlight of the team this season and has been through the first 11 games. Pitching department still has a little bit of work to do, but they have a lot of talent. They've got some arms that still need to get healthy, and I think their starters can be fantastic this year. It's about, as it is for many, many baseball teams at every level across the country, it's about what you can get from your bullpen. Luke Earnhardt, Dylan Noche, the 2 other pretty much starters that are going to be taking the bump to start the year for North Georgia. Maban pounds that one, but it's well foul and gets out of the ballpark. 3-2, 6 pitches. This will be number 7 in this at-bat. And there's a bunch of new faces and new names in that bullpen this year. A bullpen that was pretty good last year. Maybe better than some people would expect based on how the season ended, as Williams concedes his 2nd walk of the day. And Georgia College, in what they need to be a bounce-back inning, has the leadoff man on for the lefty Evan Cowan. And so the bullpen, when you actually look at the season numbers from last year, was a little bit better than at least I was expecting and what I would believe some other people would expect, just based on the record and how some of those games went down the stretch. That's what it's going to be about this year. Can the bullpen support the offense enough for the Nighthawks to win a bunch of games and compete for a Peach Belt Conference and hopefully a Southeast Regional? It's a region that has a number of teams in the top 25 in the preseason And in the second poll of the year, as we talked about, widely regarded by many as the most difficult region in the country. Whiff from Cowan on the 1-1. And Williams does get ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. North Greenville in South Carolina, out of the Conference Carolinas, the highest ranked team in the region. Catawba, we talked about them, made it to the national semifinals last year. They're number 13 in the Southeast region right now out of the South Atlantic Conference. They actually took the spot of Georgia College from the preseason poll. Mount Olive, they're at 16 in Conference Carolinas. Lenore Rhine in the SAC up there in Hickory, 21. Young Harris, who North Georgia lost to 8-1 on Tuesday, they're number 22. Former Peach Belt school that's now in Conference Carolinas. The runner Mabon went down to second base, and that's a stolen base for Matthew Mabon as he slides in safely. Third stolen base this year for the senior from Dublin, Georgia. Now the leadoff runner in scoring position. 2-2 to Cowan, and just chop foul stays alive. UNC Pembroke and Carson Newman at 28 and 30. The ABCA poll actually goes to the top 30, unlike most coaches poll around the country that go to just the 25. So UNC Pembroke at 28 and Carson Newman at 30, both of them out of the Conference Carolinas and SAC as well. The final ranked teams in the region. And called strike 3 on Cowan. Couldn't believe that the front door curveball worked. And that's Williams' first K of the game, a backwards one, and it comes after the leadoff walk. Much needed as Noonan back up to the plate. Noonan popped up to left field his first time up. That was also with a runner in scoring position. Last time it was Cowan. That was in the second inning after he reached on a single and then stole second. Mabon walked and stole second. This pop-up scoots foul just almost over the bleachers at Bob Stein Stadium, frightening the crowd as it clangs off the back row. I think most people thought it was going to scoot over, and instead everybody's heart just skipped a beat. Not mine, though, up here. Cool, calm, and collected, was ready for it. Noonan hard on the ground to third. Frost with a nice fielding job on that sharp grounder. Looks the runner back and throws the other runner out. Noonan down on the 5-3. 2 down suddenly, and Gabe Worth will be the last chance to try to put Georgia College on the board for the first time here in the fourth. Ball outside. Worth in his first time at bat this game came in the second. He was the second of 3 outs in the second inning that all went into the glove of Kyle Robish, the left fielder for UNG. Worth's ahead 1-0 here. Williams a couple checks on Mabon at second. Just a late swing as it's fouled back to the screen from Gabe Worth. All-conference first team last year, preseason all-conference this year, also preseason all-region by the NCBWA. He and John Luke Lanton, the only preseason all-region players for the Bobcats. Floated foul, Frost a long run towards the enemy dugout, but it does get back over the third base dugout for the Bobcats. Strike 2 on the foul. .356 average last year for Gabe, the infielder from Woodstock. 14 doubles, 3 home runs, almost 40 RBIs. And he's in a 1-2 here. Outside, great block by Stripling. Ball bounced in the right-handed batter's box, got his chest in front of it, and kept Mabon over there at second. Seen a couple wild pitches hurt John Luke Glanton already. He's had 2 today, Williams with none so far. The 2-2 with 2 down. Softly off the end of the bat, Frost charges, fields, flips, and the out at first. Another runner stranded. That's the 4th of the game for Georgia College, the 3rd in scoring position, and UNG hangs on to the 4-0 lead. Home half of the 4th inning when we return on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard is a quick drive from Atlanta, but a world apart from the noise and sprawl. Escape to the North Georgia mountains for your next weekend adventure or book your next corporate outing at Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard today. You can take some beautiful trips and getaways to Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard. You can come to some beautiful North Georgia baseball games at the ever pretty Bob Stein Stadium. Trees are still a little bare. It's still a little cold, but when the sun shines down on Lynn Cottrell Park, there are not many better venues in college baseball across the country, especially at the Division II level. The 9-hole hitter Stripling will lead off after the big 3rd inning. It's still John Luke Glanton on the bump for the Bobcats. Despite the 4-run 3rd inning, did not expect him to leave the game this early. With 50 pitches, make it 51 so far. On ball 1 to Bryson. Glanton plunked Bryson in his first at-bat back in the 2nd. As we say that it's no surprise Glanton remains in the game after the big inning, this is the first time we've actually seen movement in either bullpen, and it's in the Georgia College bullpen down the left field line. Stripling swings and misses for strike 2. It doesn't feel like at sub-60 pitches this is the last inning for John Luke Glanton. Obviously, it depends on how this inning goes. If the bats stay hot for UNG, then we could see them go to the bullpen early in the first of this 3-game series. But have to feel like if he gets out of this quickly, that he would pitch into the 5th. Never want to go to the bullpen too early on the first day of a series. Tomorrow's game scheduled for 2 o'clock here at Bob Stein Stadium. Sunday's finale at 1 p.m. This opener was originally scheduled for 6 p.m., but it has been deathly cold of late, especially when that sun goes down beyond the right field wall here at Bob Stein Stadium. And that was definitely going to be the case for a 6 p.m. first pitch, so they moved it up to 3 o'clock. Save everybody a couple of layers as Stripling on the 3-2 softly flicks one over the shortstop Hammaker's head for a leadoff single. In the last 8 batters, that's 5 hits, 3 of them extra bases for UNG. Now Opada still looking to reach for the first time today. Takes a fastball outside. Struck out his first time up. Sorry, he has reached today. That was on a fielder's choice in the 2nd, looking for his first hit. He's got a good opportunity for it here with a 2-0 count. Philip Ard's 4th home run of the season tied this man for the lead in the conference so far this year in deep flies. 2-1 from Glanton. Curveball that nearly hits Opata, but just dodges him at the plate. Opata also 3rd in the league in average, 1st in slugging, OPS, runs, hits, and obviously, as we mentioned, home runs, while being 2nd behind Philip Ard in RBIs. He's also top 3 in batting average, top 5 in on-base percentage. And he'll reach here again on the fielder's choice for the 2nd time today as they just get the lead runner in Stripling over at 2nd. Now Bowen's turn. He's 2 for 2 today. Started that rally last inning. Bowen takes a strike. Singled to left in the 1st, got all the way to 3rd in that inning, and then was out on the 5-2 putout on the ground out from Kyle Robish to save a run for Georgia College in the 1st. Then in the 3rd on the 1st pitch, lined a single to the gap in right center. A good knock. Had a loud sound. Runner goes Opata, safe at 2nd base by a mile. This is 8th stolen base of the year, another mark that ranks in the top 10 in the conference. Bowen jumps on the curveball. It's lined to first, throw back to 2nd, not in time. Braden Smith with a good heads-up play. Bowen just a little too low. If he gets a little bit more under it, that is trouble all the way down the right field line. Opata scores easily. Instead, it's just a line out for the 2nd out. Brings up Ard. Also 2 for 2 today. Single and a home run. Pair of RBIs. The 1-0 finds its way for a strike. So Glanton up to 68 pitches with 2 outs here in the 4th. That's 18 this inning. Still has to get Ard. Opata trying to go for 3rd, hit and run on, and Ard pounds it foul. Should be interesting to see if Nolan Belcher decides to go to the bullpen in the 5th. One, two, and Ard does a nice job pulling off the curveball that was diving away. Had strike 3 written all over it. Instead, Ard will see another pitch. Opata running again. Ard, another fly ball. Deep left field. If it's fair, it's gone. Back-to-back jacks for Phil Ard. 3 for 3 with 2 bombs and 4 runners batted in. It's 6-0 UNG. What a season Philip Ard is having. What a game he's having here on a Friday night in Bob Stein Stadium. 6-0 Nighthawks over the Bobcats of Georgia College. Robish takes strike 1 from Glanton. Certainly feels like this will be his last inning now. Could not expect him to go out again for the 5th. The top to middle of this order has absolutely eaten Glanton alive, and the unofficial TrackMan stats from that home run from Philip Ard as Robish grounds out to second to end the inning. 418 feet, both of them. The first home run and the second home run, 107 miles per hour off the bat, 418 feet deep, and a total of 4 runs brought across home plate. 6-0. Nighthawks lead it after 4 here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Calling all business owners, let Business Fernie, a proud partner of UNG Athletics, help you furnish your workspace with office furniture, graphics, wall solutions, and more at Business Fernie today. UNG with 4 runs in the third, 2 in the fourth, 4 in total coming from Philip Ard of their 6-0 lead. Pierce Williams out for the 5th as he gets Caleb Mealy to sky it to right. Foul territory. Bowman is over, and the right fielder makes the catch. Charlie Banks, the DH, will now bat. So that's 5 home runs on the year for Philip Ard. 23 RBI. For context, last season, he was the only Nighthawk to make the PBC All-Conference team. He was selected to the All-Conference second team, and that was because he hit .326 with 14 doubles, 2 triples, and 11 home runs, and had 40 RBIs. Slugging percentage just below .600. As this one's out to center, Opata gets under it, 2 up and 2 down. And this year, Ard entered today hitting .313, just 13 points below his average from last year. He's 3 for 3. He's now up to 5 home runs and 23 RBI. His slugging percentage was at .521. That's going to skyrocket today. We talked about Andrew Zapata, how he ranks within the Peach Belt Conference. A lot of us around North Georgia baseball have been talking about Opata. Certainly looks like an all-region player, perhaps an All-American this season, and Phil Ard is certainly making his case as well through 11 and now 11 and a half games this year. 40 RBI last year, 24 already this year. I will not get over that number for a while. Two and one on Hammaker. And make it 2-2, tipped for strike 2. Hammaker with a single and a ground out so far today. Williams, chance at a quick inning. This one's lined kind of back to him. It goes out to the gap in right center. Opata gets behind it. Throw to second, not in time, as Hamaker rumbles to a double with 2 outs. Williams had a chance for a quick inning. Now he'll have to face a 4th batter in Braden Smith. First extra base hit allowed for Pierce Williams today. 4 hits in total for the Bobcats. 2 walks and a strikeout so far for the North Georgia opening day starter. Skips up to home plate, does the fastball. Ball 1 to Smith. Braden Smith, so far this year, an OPS just below 1,000. Top 10 in the conference. Also, with 12 RBIs this season, top 10 in the league. His team will take anything here to just get the 0 off their name in the scoreboard. Good spot for Smith. 2-0 hitters count. He takes a fastball. 4 strike. Two one, just dips low, below the zone. 3 balls and a strike. Good crowd on hand here at Bob Stein Stadium. Friday night baseball. Sun shining. Weather has perked up a little bit in the later stages of the day. Certainly better than what we expected it to be had this game stayed at its original start time at 6 o'clock. That's a walk to Smith. And Williams still not out of the woods yet in the 5th. 3rd walk for him today. Uncharacteristic for Pierce. Had only allowed 4 walks in total on the season. Had never walked more than 2 batters in his first 3 starts. That brings Tom Cantrell out of the dugout. And he will not go to the bullpen just yet. A couple people down there warming up for UNG, but this is Williams' inning to finish as of right now. .76 pitches for Pierce as it stands. First walk came to Caleb Mealy with 2 outs in the 2nd. Then to start the 4th, he walked Mabon on a good 3-2 battle that was 7 pitches long. Second 2-out walk of the day. Here to Smith to bring up the 3-hole hitter and left fielder Carson Phillips. First pitch darts inside with a fastball as Phillips gets out of the way. 1-0. And Williams struggling to find the strike zone here in the 5th. Right around 58% strikes in this start for Pierce. We're used to him being a few ticks above that. And he's behind 3-0 to Phillips here. That last walk to Smith on a 3-1. Needs a strike here with 2 outs. Does get it with a fastball. Mabon would be next. And that's their cleanup hitter. Phillips out to left. Robish lets it land, and that'll bring in 1 run as Hammaker scores easily from second, and Georgia College on the board with a couple timely at-bats with 2 outs. This looked like it was going to be a 4 or 5 pitch inning for a moment for Pierce Williams, and instead with 2 outs, Hammaker doubles, Smith walks, and Phillips brings in the first run of the game with an RBI single to left. And now Mabon with 2 runners on and 2 out. Big swing for the fences on the first pitch. Fastball outside for a strike. The 0-1. Another one. Same spot. And Mabon fell for it again, 0-2. Williams looking for the K. Skips it in there. About 55-foot pitch on that one for ball 1. And the 1-2. Softly off the end, fouled back down towards third base. Once more, the 1-2 from Williams. Ball 2 as it missed outside with the curveball. Tried to beat him on the back door. 6 pitches this at bat, and this will be number 7. That's back-to-back 7-pitch battles between Williams and Mabon. Two-two. Swing and a miss. Pierce got him with the changeup. And only 1 run comes across in the inning for Georgia College. It's the RBI single from Carson Phillips that gets the Bobcats on the board. Nighthawks still lead it by 5, batting in the 5th when we return here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Well, a lesson in counting your chickens before the eggs hatch, or however the saying goes. Don't do it, because John Luke Lanton, as we assumed, would not be out to start the 5th inning, and instead he is. Despite trailing 6-1 and giving up 3 home runs in the last 2 innings, the preseason All-American still on the bump. 74 pitches thrown for Nolan Belcher, the head coach of the Bobcats. Bullpen has been busy for the last inning, though. Stinson, first collegiate home run the last time he saw Glanton in the 3rd. Here he takes a backdoor curveball that misses for ball 1. UNG could really help its pitching staff and perhaps cement this game with a big inning here in the 5th. They've scored in 2 straight now. 2-0. Stinson hard on the ground to second. Worth fields it into his glove, and that's one out.
Now batting number 33, Jake Prince.
Now Prince's turn. 1 for 2. Doubled in his first at-bat in the second. Then struck out in the third. I think he got out of the way of that. Curveball backed up so much on Glanton that it went behind Prince. Didn't touch him. And it's ball 1 all the same. Ball 2 misses on the opposite side. And both of these pitchers starting to unravel in the middle innings of this game. Glanton trying to work quickly. I think they're just desperately trying to get 3 more outs before they go to the bullpen. And Jake Prince has picked up on that. He's taking all the way. They do get a strike on the 3-0. And time called by the home plate ump. Glanton was working really quickly there. Trying to just fire it in, maybe too quickly for the umpire's liking. Up and in on Prince, and ball 4. First walk that Glanton has given up today.
Number 5, Edwin Bowman.
Bowman's 0 for 2, looking to join the offensive party. Pop out on a ground out in his last 2. And in 7 pitches this inning for Glanton, 6 have missed the strike zone now. It was 7 of 8, but he did get Bowman to swing. So 1-1. Edwin, 8 hits and 40 at-bats this year. That's 200 at the plate. Does have 7 RBIs, though. 7 strikeouts and 7 walks. Runner down to second base. Prince is safe with another stolen bag. 1 out and 1 in scoring position for Edwin. The right fielder had a highlight play in the field last weekend. Robbed St. Leo of a home run. Saw a great video of that on Nighthawk social media if you've been following along this year. Here he grounds out to Mabon at third. 2 down now for Riley Frost. That's another thing, though. The defense for UNG has been very good to start the year. So hard to grade individual and team defensive metrics. They haven't even really found a good way to do it in the MLB. So the best we really have at any levels below that is fielding percentage, errors, double plays turned. That's more of a pitcher stat. And getting the hitter to ground out in a situation where you need it. Nonetheless, in fielding percentage, UNG early in this season, one of the best teams in the country. Frost, this one slicing to the gap and right. That is trouble. That one is down off the base of the wall. Pounds the bottom. Frost with an RBI double as Prince scores. They trade places, and UNG, for the 3rd consecutive inning, puts a crooked number on the Lynn Cottrell Park scoreboard in right field. Frost with RBI number 5 this year. And it looks like that's maybe the day for John Luke Glanton. It is. Fist bumps on the mound to his infield teammates. Hands the ball to his head coach, Nolan Belcher. And that'll be a pitching change for Georgia College. 7-1 when Glanton leaves. The Nighthawks tag the preseason All-American and lead by 6 runs as the Bobcats go to the bullpen when we return.
The road
to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
No matter how you connect, ETC delivers fast, reliable internet and secure, powerful Wi-Fi choices for your home. For intense gaming, easy sharing, and buffer-free streaming on every device all at once. With local experts ready to help. Connect to faster internet. Connect to awesome Wi-Fi. Connect to now. Call or visit etcnow.com to upgrade your internet today.
So John Luke Glanton ends his day 4 2/3 innings pitched, 10 hits, 7 runs allowed, all of which are earned, 1 walk, and only 2 strikeouts as UNG puts on a show offensively at the plate in innings 3, 4, and 5 to get to one of the league's best pitchers from a season ago. And so it'll be Carter Barnes, the junior from Waycross, Georgia, and Ware County High School, to take over on the bump. The 6'205" righty will face Bryson Stripling, Andrew Zapata, and Jace Bowen, barring a substitution, to start his relief outing. Barnes, only 1 inning this year. Came in relief a week ago in that series against Lynn for Georgia College. Walked 1 and struck out 2 in that inning and gave up a hit. This one's outside to Stripling. Carter last season, only 7 2/3 innings. In his first 2 years in Milledgeville, has not pitched more than 7 2/3 innings and has not had lower than an 8.00 ERA. Here he does get the first batter he faces out. As Stripling grounds out, Nighthawks add another. It's a 6-run lead into the 6th inning for UNG here at Bob Stein Stadium.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through.
The whole day, every day, we're thinking about one thing: Georgia's hearts. While you're busy being you, we're working to make Georgia Heart Institute Georgia's #1 heart program. One of only 2 programs in the state offering robotic heart surgery as an alternative to open heart surgery. So whether you live in Atlanta or Athens, in the country or in town, the future of heart care is here for you today. We do it all because Georgia's hearts are always on our minds.
That old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Georgia Heart Institute.
So John Luke Glanton goes out in the bottom of the 5th. Pierce Williams completes 5 innings, only allowing 1 run, and he gives way to Zach Green to take over for the Nighthawks. Williams' final line reads 5 innings, 5 hits, that 1 earned run that came late in the 5th inning with 2 outs. 3 walks and 2 Ks, a little bit of a lower strikeout day for Williams, his lowest of the season so far. He had 6 or more in each of his first 3 starts. So Zach Green, the lefty, out of Gainesville, takes over. Zach is one of the most fun players to watch for this UNG team. He walks Cowan on the 3-1 here to start the 6th. That's his first walk of the day, the 4th that the Bobcats have earned. But Zach brings so much energy and life to that dugout, to the bullpen, to the mound when he pitches. But every single time in a game that Green is either pitching or not pitching in, when there is a Nighthawk home run, the first player out of the dugout ready to celebrate with the home run hitter is Zach Green. And the graduate from Gainesville has been with this program for the last 4 years, started his college career at Louisiana Tech, but he's become a staple in that North Georgia blue on the mound, and a guy who's a lot of fun to watch. 1-2 now on Noonan. For those of you that were following along earlier, mentioned that when I referenced Hank Noonan's last name and its historical and significance to both movies and sports, all the college kids in the press box were looking at me like a lunatic. I have confirmed that none of them have seen Caddyshack. So the parents at home, please show Caddyshack to your children. They need it. Noonan singles to left right on cue, and the first 2 in the 6th inning are on against Zach Green. And we talked about the bullpen struggles a little bit earlier in this game, back when it was a 0-0 game, as we were looking at both of these teams, their outlook on the season. Here's a bunt laid down from Worth. Green just fields and fires to first. They do get an out, but Gabe Worth does his job and puts a pair of runners in scoring position for the catcher Caleb Mealy. But looking at the areas of improvement maybe for each of these teams, the bullpen is certainly one that you eye for North Georgia. And they need Green to get out of this jam in the 6th and keep this at a North Georgia advantage game. That one goes right to Ard on the first pitch, and they've got 2 runners at third. The throw goes to Frost. He'll go back to second, and the shortstop Bowen tags out Hank Noonan, and base running collapse for the Bobcats. They had a chance to put some more runs on the board in that inning. Instead, it's a double play on the final play of the top of the 6th, and that keeps it at 7-1 Nighthawks. Unbelievable mistake for Georgia College. UNG batting in the home half of the 6th when we return.
I pledge.
I
am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
So North Georgia goes to the bullpen to start the 6th inning with Zach Green. He gives up a walk in the first batter to Evan Cowan. Hank Noonan then singles after, and it looks like the Bobcats may be brewing a big inning. 2 on, nobody out. Worth drops down a sac bunt to move the runners to scoring position. And Caleb Mealy grounds out to first base where Philip Ard picks it, steps on the bag for the second out of the inning. And you turn and you look, and all of a sudden there's 2 runners at third base. Noonan had followed Cowan, who had started for home, but Ard looked him back, and then they were both at third base. So Ard threw to Riley Frost over there, who caught it, had a decision to make, 2 runners that he could have gotten. Instead, went to second base instead of going home where Jace Bowen was waiting, who got it and tagged out Noonan on the 3-5-6 put out to end the top of the 6th. And now North Georgia bats in the home half. Andrews Opata against the reliever Carter Barnes, and he's ahead 2-0, make it 2-1 as Barnes gets his first strike. The top of the order, sans Opata, really has absolutely destroyed Georgia College pitching today. Jace Bowen in the 2-hole is 2 for 3 with a run scored. Philip Ard in the 3-hole is 3 for 3 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Kyle Robish has a double and a run scored in the 4-hole. Nick Stinson, the number 5 batter, has a home run in the 3rd. Jake Prince, a double and a walk in 3 plate appearances in the 6-hole. And now Opata does reach for the 3rd time today. The first 2 were on fielder's choices. This one, productive, does not result in an out as he gets plunked on the 3-1. And now the dangerous Jace Bowen back up. His only other out in his 3 plate appearances today, as we mentioned 2 for 3, was a hard line out to first base the last time up, 2 innings ago. Opata down to second, and he slides in safely, his 2nd stolen base today. And that's now 9 on the year for the junior from Lawrenceville. Pitch missed as well, so it's 1-0 to Bowen. Here it is, swings and misses through a fastball. Jace ready. Barnes delivers, shows a bunt, gets away from Mealy, and Opata. No doubt about him getting over to third. UNG's fastest runner and leadoff hitter, now 90 feet away from home on the wild pitch. Two and one on Bowen, a guy they don't want to see. Runner at third, nobody out with Philip Ard on deck. Another sight that the Bobcats can't bear to look at. 3-1 now. Bowen out to left the opposite way, drops down just in front of the line and in front of the left fielder Phillips. Jace Bowen, his first RBI of the day, his 3rd hit, 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. It's now 8-1. 4 straight innings of offense for the Nighthawks. And Ard digs back in. There's going to be a lot of excitement for this at bat. His 4th of the day, single home run already. Fly ball out into left center. This one appears it will stay in the ballpark. And today, that's a rare occurrence for Philip Ard. A fly out to Phillips in left on the first pitch. First out of the inning. Brings up Robish. Robish, a double, reached on a fielder's choice earlier. Bowen steals second easily. The 0-1. Fly ball out into right center. Charging in is the center fielder Cowan. He will give way for Noonan. Good catch and got it in quickly to stop Bowen from tagging for third. A couple of flyouts to the corner outfielders means there are 2 outs now for Nick Stinson. Stinson from the left side, first collegiate home run in the 3rd inning. His only hit so far today. That one was a 2-run bomb to right center. Feels like Stinson has the makings of a key player for UNG this season and beyond. So much talent in a guy who's got the ability to both hit and pitch. Do both of them well in the little bit that we've seen and how much more we've seen him at the plate. You're led to believe he's a better hitter than he is a pitcher. He smacks this one deep out to right. Going back is Noonan. He looks up. Stinson with another home run. First collegiate home run in the 3rd. He's a seasoned vet in the 6th. Second 2-run bomb of the day for Nick Stinson. And it's all UNG in the 6th inning. 10-1, they lead the Bobcats. It'll be Prince's turn. He had a double in the 2nd, walked last inning. Goes around on the first pitch here. Really impressed with this Nighthawk lineup today. As Prince takes strike 2. Particularly Stinson, Ard, and Bowen. 3 and 5 hole hitters. Grounded to third, where Mabon scoops it up. Prince just a step behind, almost beat it out for an infield single. Nick Stinson highlights the 6th inning. 3 more runs, for UNG. 2 of them coming on one swing from the redshirt freshman. His 2nd home run of the day, and it's 10-1 Nighthawks here in Dahlonega. Zach Green still out there in the top of the 7th. Came on to start the 6th in relief for Pierce Williams, the starter for UNG. It was a little bit of a rocky day for Pierce, but it has not been a rocky day for his offense. And conversely, John Luke Glanton, the starter for Georgia College, had a rough start. And even though he is sitting in the dugout, the UNG Bats have just kept it going. Charlie Banks, the DH, behind no balls and a strike. Make it 2 now on back-to-back whiffs against Green. So just doing the quick math, and bear with me because I was not a math major in college, but the 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the North Georgia lineup today, a combined 9 for 16 with 7 runs scored. This one's down into the gap. It'll be extra bases for Banks, his first hit of the day. He's put 3 balls in play into the outfield. That one lands on grass, and a leadoff double after being behind in the count for the Bobcats. So the 2, 3, 4, and 5 for North Georgia, 9 for 16, 7 runs scored, 4 home runs, and 9 RBIs of the 10 that they have in this game. That's Jace Bowen, Phil Ard, Kyle Robish, and Nick Stinson. Ard and Stinson each with 2 two-run home runs today. A mouthful to get those numbers out. This one's up into center on the ground. Opata, janitor's throw to home. It's cut off by Ard as Banks scores. Ard was suspecting Ben Hammaker, the shortstop, would try to leg it into 2 on Opata's throw. Instead, it's just an RBI single up the middle, and Georgia College has its second run. Back-to-back hits here against Green, and now he's got to go through the top part of the order. Braden Smith up. Only time he reached was in the 5th on a walk. The 1-0. Ooh, good-looking pitch from Green. Did not get the call. Three balls and no strikes now. North Georgia bullpen busy. Green usually has a longer leash than most relievers. Does get a strike here. See what he can do in these next few at-bats, and if Tom Cantrell's going to leave him in or go somewhere else to hang on to this as it stands an 8-run lead. 3-1, up the middle, could be a double play ball. Prince to Bowen, to Ard, not in time. Smith beat it out over at first base. They do get the lead runner for the first out. That's a 4-6 fielder's choice for Smith. And now Carson Phillips' turn. He's got a pair of hits today, the only Bobcat with multiple hits. Check that, Ben Hammaker has 3. My apologies. Phillips 2 for 3 so far, a couple singles and RBI. Ground ball, shortstop, another double play ball. Bowen to Prince at second, fumbled the transfer, so no chance to get Phillips, who also runs well at first base. Would have been a tough turn anyways. But back-to-back ground balls for Zach Green does a nice job. Now 2 down for Mabon. Green ahead with a first pitch strike. Been a little bit better in these last few at-bats this inning. Getting ahead in counts. Move to first. Sends Phillips diving back to the bag. Outside edge, right on the black for a strike. Good fastball from Zach Green. Shadows elongating as the sun sets, nearing the 5 o'clock hour here at Bob Stein Stadium. Check swing from Mabon. Did he go? Did not. Stripling was sure of it. Halfway to the dugout, he's going to have to come back and try to get another strike. Try the 1-2, and Mabon stays alive with another foul ball. He's had a number of these 2-strike fouls today. In fact, Matthew Mabon has stayed alive in an at-bat with a 2-strike foul ball in every single plate appearance so far today. He's had 2 at-bats go over 7 pitches. And there's another foul tip. Looked like strike 3. Didn't hear it, but Stripling dropped it. Umpire called time. His last 2 at-bats have gone over 7 pitches. This one nearing it. This will be number 6. The 1-2 from Green, runner at second. And that's ball 2. This one will also go to 7 pitches. Mabon won the first battle. That was with Williams. It resulted in a walk. The second 7-pitch or 7+ pitch battle with Williams was a strikeout. And now Green with 2 down. Gets him to ground it softly to third. Frost charges, throws over to first, and makes the play. Mabon keeps the at-bat alive, but ends it with another ground out. 3 straight ground outs after a leadoff double, followed by an RBI single from Hammaker. 10-2, Nighthawks in front. Stretch time in Dahlonega at Bob Stein Stadium. Sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game in your homes if you'd like. We won't sing it for you on the broadcast, though. We will not subject you to that. 10-2, Nighthawks lead as we move on to the home half of the 7th inning.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
On my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
This evening's broadcast is presented to you in part by Coca-Cola, the official sideline partner of North Georgia Athletics. It's an 8-run lead for UNG right now. In the bottom of the 7th as Edwin Bowman, the right fielder and 7-hole hitter, will lead things off in this inning. Frost on deck, Stripling behind him. Not sure if we'll start to see Tom Cantrell pull some levers. Bowman loses the bat all the way back to the screen. Everybody's okay. As it was going towards that Georgia College dugout, but did stay away, thankfully. But with an 8-run lead in the final 3 innings now of this game, we'll see if Tom Cantrell elects to push some buttons, pull some levers, and make some substitutions. Feels like he has a deeper lineup this year than he did last year. Last year, the lineup felt limited because of the injuries, but I also think there's more capable hitters in this lineup that go deeper than only 9 spots. Bowman in on the hands, but shoves it into left field. Joins the hit party. Now Andrews Opata, the only Nighthawk today without a hit. Bowman a pop-out, ground out, and ground out before that. His leadoff single starts the 7 for Frost, who doubled in the 5th. that had an RBI attached to it. You could see Bowman running down the line, raising his arms. Not quite a Michael Jordan shrug, but almost like a praising, grateful sigh of relief. You could see he was frustrated in those first few at-bats, wanting to contribute on offense. 2 balls, no strikes to Frost. Make it 3-0 as he gets out of the way of the inside fastball from Carter Barnes. So Barnes has really struggled with the walks in the last 2 years. A total of 9 strikeouts in his first 2 seasons, but 17 walks to counter that. Too many free base runners. Opponents also hit .333 against him last year in his 5 outings. It's been a little bit better this year, but it's only 1 inning of work, like we mentioned when he came on. Still had a walk and 2 strikeouts in it. 3-1 here to Frost. Runner goes. Hit and run on. It's lifted into right field. Noonan gets under it. Throws back to first. Bowman got to get back quickly. Just barely did. Not quite sure if he realized just how close Noonan was to first base. But nonetheless, Bowman gets back, and it's just a regular old fly out to right. Now Stripling's turn. Fastball low on the first pitch to Bryson. His only hit of the day. A little blooper to left in the 4th. Has been on twice. He got hit by a pitch back in the 2nd. Waves and misses. 1-1. That one's outside. 2 balls and a strike. A lot going on in North Georgia athletics this time of year, mid to late February. The winter sports are finishing up. The spring sports are starting. And everybody's playing at the same time. Always a fun time of year to see those spring teams, which were really good last year to start their year. There's a lot of excitement around them. The winter sports, rifle, both basketballs, men's and women's, are closing up their season, starting to scoreboard, watch the other teams in the conference as both teams nearing either a conference championship or clinching a tournament berth, whatever it is. It's a really fun time. The big news today already, the 6th-ranked UNG women's tennis team took down 7th-ranked Flagler in the ITA Indoor National Championship 4-3 in a very close contest. Flagler, obviously a Peach Belt foe, one of the top Peach Belt teams one of the top teams in the conference historically in women's tennis within the Peach Belt Conference, and UNG has now beaten the Saints in 3 straight matches. A big win for them. They advance to the Indoor National Semifinals tomorrow, where they will play the winner of Midwestern State and Lynn. That also took place today in Indianapolis at the ITA Indoor National Championships. Opata grounds out to short after the strikeout to Stripling. 7 innings done, and the Nighthawks lead by 8. Top of the 8th coming up after the break on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Evan Cowan leads things off with a strike from Zach Green as he watches it go by. Cowan, a single, a strikeout, a walk so far today, a little bit of everything. Green, this will now be his third inning of work. Came on to start the sixth. It hasn't been smooth sailing. Couple hits allowed, did let a run come across last inning. A walk, still looking for his first strikeout. But Green more of a pitch to contact guy. And right on cue, Cowan goes down looking. The announcer jinx never, ever fails. I always tell people it's just special powers that we have up here, and they really should just be thankful that we do what we do and say what we say, because that does change the results of the sports we're watching at hand. So Zach Green finishes his day with a strikeout. The Nighthawks will go to the bullpen for a Trammell Tire Pros call to the bullpen as they make the pitching change. We'll step aside, get it sorted, and bring it to you after these words on the Nighthawks Sports Network.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
At the heart of America's gold rush stands a beacon of leadership, tradition, and excellence. A university that has always led the way, forging an environment for broad-based academics, world-class athletics, and tomorrow's military leaders. The University of North Georgia. Learning and leadership. Passion and preparation. Transformation and tradition. We are the University of North Georgia.
Fans, North Georgia has a brand new look, and now you can too, thanks to the all-new Nighthawk shop. Visit the UNG bookstore today to get the latest NG-branded apparel, souvenirs, gear, and more. The all-new bookstore, fully renovated and redesigned to accommodate the athletics logo change, the new NG everywhere across this campus, and especially at the bookstore to get it on your gear. Pitching change for UNG as Zach Green ends his day of 2 1/3 innings of relief with a strikeout. Matthew Hurd, the junior righty from Loganville, takes over. Noonan checked his swing, went too far. No balls and 2 strikes. So Green finishes 2 1/3 with 3 hits allowed, a run, a walk, a strikeout. And Hurd starts his with a 3-pitch K. It's now 6 pitches from North Georgia pitchers in the last 2 at-bats and 2 strikeouts. First strikeout for Hurd. His 9th of the season, 3 walks allowed in now 10 2/3 innings. He's given up 5 earned runs in 4 appearances, only 1 of them a start. The rest have been in relief. Does already have a save this year. Two and 1 to Worth. Couple of groundouts and a sacrifice bunt in the 6th for him today. This one's a liner out to right. It'll drop over the head of Prince for a base hit. So Mealy's turn again. Fourth time he's walked up to the plate. A walk and 2 contact outs so far. Hurd last season a 6.69 ERA. Did make 4 spot starts for a total of 35 innings, but in 19 outings in total was primarily a bullpen pitcher. And similar to today, was usually the second or third guy that the Nighthawks would go to. Struggled with command a little bit, 20 starts, 22 walks. Opponent slugging was a problem last year with that ERA around 7. 10 doubles, a triple, and 4 home runs. But he gets a ground out here after starting his inning with a strikeout. Caleb Mealy and the Bobcats are done in the 8th. North Georgia, perhaps their last chance to add to this big offensive day here on Friday night. 10-2 lead, bottom of the 8th after the break. Jace Bowen will lead off the 8th and maybe final inning for North Georgia. He will face Owen Thomas for the Bobcats, sophomore from Peachtree City. 6'5", 240-pound righty out of the pen. Big guy on the mound. Throws strike 1. It's 1-1 on Bowen, who's been near perfect today. 3 for 4, 2 runs scored. Does have an RBI as well. Jokingly in the press box last week, and we gave Andrew Zopata the title of Mr. RBI, and Jace Bowen was Mr. RBI Jr. Today, he's been Mr. Hit. Only Ard has as many today. Ard's a little bit more glamorous box score with 2 home runs. Bowen adds a walk here. It's only the 2nd walk for North Georgia in this game. First one came all the way back in the 5th inning to Jake Prince. But the sophomore Thomas loses it on 3-1. It's now Ard's turn again. Single in the 1st, home run in the 3rd, home run again in the 4th. They finally got him out last inning on a deep fly out to left. He's put the ball in play, and he smoked it almost every single time. 1-0 on the ground, smoked again, but foul. See the entire Georgia College dugout jump when that ball came at them. It's usually what happens when Ard puts the barrel on it. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Good fastball. Elevated it a little bit, did Thomas. and spiked that one. Like 55 feet. Wild pitch. Bowen down to second. We've seen a number of wild pitches in this game from Georgia College pitchers, even going back to the starter and, as we've mentioned a number of times, preseason All-American John Luke Glanton. Looked like a pretty good pitch from Thomas. Instead, it's ball 3, full count to Phillip Ard. The payoff. Fouled. Thomas really good in his freshman season last year. Limited action. 13 2/3 innings, all in relief. But a 3.29 ERA. 9 strikeouts and 8 walks are pretty typical ratios for a freshman, but opponents hit just 159 against him. He only gave up 2 extra base hits. And 7 in total in 13 innings. Ard skies it. Will it stay in play by the North Georgia dugout? The catcher, Mealy, watches it hit the stands. Third time Thomas will throw the 3-2. And Ard takes it for a called third strike. Was heading down to first. Instead, he'll just exit off the shoulder to the dugout. Fourth strikeout for a Georgia College pitcher today. The first for Thomas. His first this year. This just being his second appearance. Robish popped up foul on the first one. So we talked about some of the other things going on in UNG athletics. The women's tennis team with a big win today. They'll continue their competition in the ITA Indoor National Championships tomorrow. Obviously, this is a baseball broadcast, so not sure how many tennis fans are listening. The ITA, if you're unaware, is the Intercollegiate Tennis Association, the governing body of college tennis, but the national championships that ITA has is different from the NCAA championships, which will take place later this spring. The Nighthawk women's team was there last year in their best season in program history, went to the NCAA national semifinals in Orlando, Florida, for the first time in program history. Strike 3 called on Robish. He can't believe it. That one's on the outside. Just caught the corner. Back-to-back backwards Ks for Owen Thomas. And that'll be Stinson's turn. Coming off a 2-homer day. Hit a 2-run bomb in the third. A measly ground out in the fifth before he smacked another 2-run bomb in the sixth. The first 2 home runs of his collegiate career. Maybe wanted another there. Instead, it's in the air, soaring foul over the bleachers. So the women's tennis, and that's your spring sports update. In the winter sports, UNG men's and women's basketball heading to Augusta tomorrow for a doubleheader. Augusta in the top 3 in the conference on both the men's and women's side. They're second place in the men's. North Georgia currently sits in 6th, but 2 of their final 3 games are against teams ahead of them in the standings, so they can move up in the seeding. They have secured a spot in the Peach Belt Conference tournament playing field as the top 8 teams in the PBC will make it. The first round games will all be hosted at the lower seed, and then the final 4 of the conference tournament hosted at the highest remaining seed. On the women's side, the Nighthawks 23-2 on the year and very, very close to clinching a conference championship as Stinson pops it up to center field for the third out. We'll tell you more about the UNG women's basketball team in the top of the ninth. Nighthawks looking to finish it, an 8-run lead. Last chance for Georgia College after these words on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
It'll be the junior right-hander Connor Harris to try to close things out for UNG in the top of the ninth. Harris with his third appearance of the year. This will be a 6.75 ERA in his first two, just 2 2/3 innings of work and 2 earned runs allowed. So giving you the update on North Georgia athletics around women's basketball tomorrow at Augusta at 1:30. With a win, clinches at least a share of the Peach Belt Conference regular season championship. It would be the 5th PBC title in the 31-year career of head coach Buffy Burson. With a win and a Columbus State loss, they clinch the outright title and first place and hosting rights in the PBC tournament coming up. We mentioned that the team is 23-2. That's their record so far this year. It's the first time they have been this good since 2002. That team went 32-4 and went at the NAIA level to the national quarterfinal round of the NAIA tournament. And this team right now, by the latest projections and rankings in the Women's Basketball Coaches Association weekly poll, nice play from Bowen deep in the hole at short, 6-3 in Georgia College. It all comes down to Braden Smith with a 8-run deficit. But the Nighthawks, the top team in the region in women's basketball. If all things remain the same, which there's certainly a lot of basketball left to be played, but should all things remain the same, they will be in line to host the Southeast Regional Tournament. Also in the winter sports, North Georgia Rifle, who just finished in second at the SoCon Championships a couple of weeks ago, they compete in the NCAA qualifiers in Statesboro tomorrow, looking to get their team or send a few individuals back to the NCAA national stage. We've also got softball here at Lynn Cottrell Park going on at the same time as UNG baseball. We'll get the second game of this series between the Bobcats and Nighthawks at 2 p.m. At that same time, the North Georgia softball team, who ranks as number 11 in the country right now at 9-4 on the season, they will be taking on Saginaw Valley State from the GLIAC up in the great state of Michigan in a doubleheader. That throw bobbled, or the play, ground ball, bobbled by Bowen, and then the throw too strong, so it's not quite over yet. So the E6 keeps things alive for Carson Phillips in Georgia College as Braden Smith reaches. So a lot going on in North Georgia athletics. I didn't even get to women's track and field, which starts in about 9 days. Their spring season. Men's and women's golf are already underway. The men's team is headed to Las Vegas for the Desert Classic. The women's golf headed to South Carolina for the Low Tide Intercollegiate, an event that they finished well in last year. So a lot going on around UNG this time of year. And a lot went on the scoreboard today for the Nighthawks. 4 runs in the third, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth. If you're really good at math, you know that's 10. and they win this by a final score of 10-2 against a Georgia College team that started a preseason All-American and started this year, as voted by the coaches in the country, as a top 25 team. But the Bobcats fall to 5-7. Nighthawks move to 7-5 with a 10-2 win over Georgia College. We'll rematch tomorrow at 2 right here at Bob Stein Stadium and right here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. And then the series will close Sunday at 1 p.m. A special thank you to my producer, Aaron Panu, joining me today here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Hope you all enjoyed this one. I am Brendan Shabat. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your Friday night, and hopefully we will see you right back here tomorrow. Nighthawks defeat the Bobcats 10-2 here on the Nighthawk Sports Network.